Mucho gusto, mi hijos de los noches, and welcome once again to La Casa de los Muertos. I am Dripping Yellow Madness, and it's a day of celebration, children. You see, we've received word that while they are not yet here, Madmind is in fact making their way towards this grand mausoleum. So today, we're going to set a place at the table, roll out the dead carpet, and sing Madmind along their way to their final resting place. And today, we've got Ron Centenario 30th Aniversario, Costa Rican rum. Oh, that smells. Now this shit comes in two goddamn phases. Phase 1 is a silky, buttery smooth rum. Phase 2 is a Chuck Norris kick in the face. Oh, pinche bruja! Ugh. Why don't we talk about Madmind again? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it has in fact been a year and a half, nearly 2 goddamn years since the last time I talked about Madmind, and it's not for a lack of things happening. They've actually been doing a lot in the meantime. It's just that, if you remember my Paranoid video, or if you haven't seen it, I talked about how during Mad Night 2023, they announced a shitload of projects they were going to be working on / helping publish, and I asked, will you even be around in 5 years to get that shit done to disappoint all your audiences? Will Siren ever come out? Because that looks interesting as fuck, but will you be around long enough to fuck it all up? And, well, that's for later. But the last time I did talk about Madmind was in regards to Paranoid, as Madmind was attempting to very quietly distance themselves from the game, and that, of course, failed. It wasn't like a Streisand effect situation where they tried to cover it up and it just got really, really loud. No, if you go to the Paranoid Steam page, the first thing you see in that little box on the left is their logo, and they can't get rid of that. They also probably can't get rid of the threads that say join the Madmind Discord all over everything they do. It was literally just a ridiculous, retarded, fool's errand. So, their name's back on it, and since then, they never fixed the game. To this day, 2 years later, the game still does not have a functioning save system. They also never released the soundtrack that people paid for. However, after all of that shit, Madmind announced a new game, Nyomomaniac, Sex Addict, a sort of dating sim porn game built on the leftovers from Paranoid, literally using not just sacked content from the base game, but using everything from the neighbor segment of Paranoid. You would play the neighbor from Paranoid in a new game using all of the sacked assets, reused assets, and shit they fucking stole from Paranoid but they never used. And, yeah, so I didn't buy that because Paranoid used models for its B path involving the neighbor that were worse than things that showed up in Agony. So they were in 2020-something making a porn game using models from early 2010s and outdated animations and rigging from the early 2010s. Basically, Madmind decided after fucking up Paranoid, they wanted to make a porn game with technology that was 10 years out of date for what people expect from porn games. Yes, it's amazing. People actually have expectations from fucking porn games. Well, that did not go as planned either. In fact, on the day it was supposed to release, Nyomomaniac was denied release on Steam, just as with Agony VR and Succubus VR. However, Succubus VR got completely banned from Steam, and I'm not really sure why. However, it gets even better. And that's because Madmind fucking lied about why it got denied on Steam. You see, Madmind said that the reason that it got denied on Steam was because Steam does not allow you to release games into early access that are adult only. This is a fucking lie, as even at the time that they did that, Steam was flooded with adult-only early access games. What they didn't tell you, and they didn't realize they had done, is when they said that, was they announced that the game was going to be early access, something they never said until that point. So again, their inability to be truthful, their inability to be upfront, and their ability to just say the fucking truth shows its ugly head again. So, this one actually took a very fucking long time to get on Steam. So long, in fact, that Madmind actually ended up making their own video game launcher. Here you could buy games from their store, which would give you keys that you could then use on Steam to get the game. I think some games you could play through their store. I don't know. On the day they launched their store, 3 people downloaded it and made, what do you call that? Accounts. And after the 3rd account was made, they ran out of accounts that could be made per day on it. Why is my phone ringing? Not fucking important. Anyway, so the launch of their own launching store was a complete fucking bust. And no, I made an account, but I did not buy anything for that. I was not going to give them my credit card information. I was actually waiting to get a prepaid card that I could use a pseudonym for, and never ended up having to do that. Anyway, so they made this store to release Nyomomaniac, as well as get keys for Agony, Succubus, and whatever else have you that they were working on. They also, very interestingly, had a page for a game called, oh fuck, what was it? Not Spirit X Stripe. Sharp Mind. Sharp X Mind was the game. And that was a game that they had announced like forever ago that seemed to be like some weird artsy-fartsy bullshit. The only problem was that though Sharp Mind was on their store, to this day it still has not released. We're talking like over 5 years later. Anyway, so they released their own store. They literally lied about why Nyomomaniac was blocked, and in doing so showed probably why it actually got blocked. You see, Madmind has this problem where they will promise that something is in a game, and then when they submit their game to Steam, that thing that they promise is in the game is not in the game. This actually makes Steam very wary about your game. I have seen multiple indie early access and demo games get blocked from Steam because of this, where they say, well, in the full release, this content will be in the game, but it's not in the demo, so then Steam will block it and they have to go through this whole other process. Madmind does this a lot, where they say a thing is in the game, then it's not in the game, and so that is probably why they got blocked. I mean, you get 10 new dipshit slop games self-published to Steam by a single person. The fact that Madmind hasn't figured this out in 10 fucking years, no, it's not Steam. It's Madmind. Anyway, so they literally lie about why Nyomomaniac got blocked, and they were easily disproven lies. Moving on further to November 8th of 2024, you will notice that at some point in 2024, Tormentor was supposed to come out. It didn't. November 28th, or not November 20th, on November 8th, they finally put out a statement which I will read to you now. Hold on, let me scroll up here. This was called the News from the Battlefront. Hi! We finally come to you with news after a long period of silence. Soon, we will present you many new materials from the game, and we will also provide you with a playable prologue, which we hope will allow you to feel the brutal cruelty and lack of sensory, which I guess is supposed to mean the lack of censorship, world of Tormentor, which will give you a foretaste, which isn't a word, of what you can expect from the full version of the game. Unfortunately, we regret to inform you that the game will not be released this year. Yeah, no fucking shit. They didn't say a goddamn thing about the game the entirety of 2024. And then in November, they finally say, yeah, it's not happening. When creating such a controversial title, we encounter many difficulties that we have to deal with. The premiere of our other title, Paranoid, in December 2023, was a huge blow to us and got us into very big financial difficulties, which had a significant impact on the production of Tormentor. That's a fancy way of saying we lied. We butchered the project, and we fucked over our customers, and the people who cash flow us weren't happy about that. In order to survive and to be able to finish the game in the form we wanted, we had to significantly reduce our team, which means that we did not have enough people to finish the game on time. This will be important later. It's a mystery mousquetour. Some of our regular contractors, there it is, refused to work on the game, so we are creating key models and animations ourselves with our small team. It's funny that those two sentences are right next to each other. We had to fire staff. We lost contractors. See, that's a very interesting statement. So I went into the comments of this article and I asked, contractors, do you mean to tell me that you are outsourcing game development? Not in those exact words, but that was the gist of what I was asking. And they said yes. We outsource our game development all the fucking time. A lot of studios do it, and Succubus would have taken at least 2 more years if we did not. So they have a in-house studio announcing 10 fucking games, don't have enough people to work on a single fucking game, and they're outsourcing all of their game development. And now you understand why the models were like 85 years out of date, the meshes were worse than what Agony had, and the animations were absolute donkey shit. It's because they are literally outsourcing all of their development to fucking Pakistan. Which I called, by the way. Moving on. For over half a year, we talked to many different publishers looking for help in financing the game. Yeah, you just done a Kickstarter to finance one of your games. What happened with that, dickheads? Quote unquote, we see the... Unfortunately, the conversations always ended the same. Quote, we see the potential of the project, but unfortunately our company cannot be associated with this type of content. Yeah, I doubt they said that. I doubt anyone said that. I bet it was your track record of releasing games. Additionally, one of our key investors suddenly withdrew from financing the game, which meant that we were unable to purchase previously recorded materials for the full version of the game, which effectively blocked us from working on the project. They were unable to purchase previously recorded materials. This is a very interesting statement, because it means either 1, they were purchasing pre-made animations, or 2, they were having people record animations and make animations, but they had not yet paid for them. Either way, that's not good. Thanks to recent successful premieres of smaller productions, we have finally returned to the production of Tormentor with full commitment and determination. That means, by the way, that Nyomomaniac was in fact built solely to fund Tormentor, because they had fucked up the game so bad that nobody wanted Paranoid. And once again, thank you for your support. Over 100,000 of you are waiting for Tormentor. We are perfectly aware that you expect an uncompromising and thoroughly messed up production, and that's what we want to provide you. Oh my goodness. They did that, by the way. They did in fact produce a thoroughly messed up production, but not in the way that you think or you wanted. Isn't it great? And now back to work. Tormentor will rise, no matter what stands in our way. Thanks for being with us. The game wouldn't release for another fucking year. The game was set to release in November, and it would not release for another entire year. So to recap, as of November 2024, Madmind had no money, and had no fucking bitches. And then something funny happened. After running the Kickstarter for Lords of Hell, and then shelving the game, saying that it will be made after Tormentor is finished, they decided that in order to finish Tormentor, they needed to run yet another Kickstarter! Woo! So they announced and were preparing to launch the Kickstarter project. So I went to Kickstarter, and I filed a complaint. I went full fucking Karen. I provided links to everything that I told Kickstarter. I provided links to screenshots, history, posts, their own social media posts, and I said this is a scam. Madmind has become a scam company. They have already scammed Kickstarter once. This is a scam. Agony was a scam. I showed everything that they promised and how they failed Agony. I showed everything how they promised and they failed on Lords of Hell. I showed everything they promised and how they failed on Paranoid. And I fucking nearly 7 pages of a fucking dossier on every fuck up of Madmind saying this is a scam.
I'm a jerk and everybody loves me.
And Kickstarter said, no, we checked it, it's not a scam. And then blocked their Kickstarter project anyway. So they had to move to Indiegogo. And they launched just fine on Indiegogo. I don't give a fuck about Indiegogo. I was like, you know what? They got blocked on Kickstarter, that's all I care about. It's another nail in the coffin for anyone who's not fucking retarded that, guess what? This is in fact a scam company. So I just let the Indiegogo go. And they got 30k Polish dollars. They were asking for 30k of whatever the fuck Polish currency is to finish this game. And if that was all it took to finish the game was already done. And they just wanted money to publish. Which is okay if they would say that. But if the game was still a year away, and it was only going to cost 30k to finish the game, nah, that's a scam. But they hit their goal. They get some Z-tier actress that I'd never heard of from the Saw series on board. And then something interesting happens. Some unnamed angel investor gives them 600,000 Polska dots. $600,000 to finish the game. No name, no hints, It's just some random angel investor. Interesting. And at this point, we're going to ask you to hold a question in your mind. And that question is, where's the money, Lebowski?
Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the fucking money, shithead?
Because the demo comes out, I think it was like November 11th. No, the game came out November 11th. I think the demo came out like October 18th or something. Anyway, so a demo releases late in 2025, and I play the demo. And the demo is literally just the pre-alpha footage from Mad Night 2023. It is literally the exact same segment from start to finish, only this time the player presses the buttons. And the animations are actually worse than they were in the original trailer! Models are worse, animations are worse, rigging is worse, control is worse. The entire fucking thing is just worse than anything they'd ever pushed out. The graphics are slightly better than Paranoid. But, yeah, everything is getting progressively worse. Oh, I should go back and mention, so Succubus had a lot of DLC costumes, and they were fucking terrible and looked worse than fucking Morrowind mods. What the fuck were you thinking asking $4 for an Ono Skelis DLC that looked worse than a mod for Morrowind in a game with an Ono Skelis that you can compare it to? Whoever okayed that, whoever okayed this shit with Paranoid, needs to be taken out back and asked to clean out their desk. And then that was explained by the fact that they were outsourcing to fucking Jeets. Anywho, so the demo is really fucking bad. Like, usually a demo is supposed to entice you to play a game, but when I literally go, wait a minute, this is literally just the Mad Night 2023 trailer, only I'm playing it? Yeah, I decided I'm not going to buy Tormentor. Fuck that shit. So, the game gets released, and it's pure dog shit and it's clearly a scam. Someone does a playthrough of the game on day one, and they literally can't complete it because the game just soft locks. They didn't complete the game. They did not add the trigger to end whatever scene the guy was on. And then some people actually start beating it. Well, actually, hold on. I need to roll it back a second. The game did not release on Steam. On the day that it was supposed to release on Steam, it got blocked. So they released on GOG. Anyway, so word is already coming out. People are getting the game completed, and it's 3 hours. It's about as long as Paranoid. And it has a really shitty manhunt mode that is fucking terrible and not worth the time it took to make it. It's bad. It's really, really bad. It is. People are saying that it is as bad as I said Paranoid is. They're not saying those words, but what they are putting down is that it's that bad. So I didn't buy that shit. I played the demo, I saw that shit, I didn't buy that. It took a week for it to come to Steam, of course, because it's Madmind. They don't know how to launch a fucking game. And everyone starts basically saying, this is a fucking scam. You scammed us. You scammed the investors, you scammed the people who ran the Indiegogo, you scammed the people who buy the game. And they all ask the question. This was in development for 5 years. They asked for $30K to finish it, and they got $630K. Where the fuck is the money, Lebowski? And then something interesting happens. On December 31st of 2025, CEO Tomas Dustycock tenders his resignation and sneaks off in the night. And if you are wondering why that day is specific, it is because it is the last day of the year. Not just literally, but of the corporate year. Which means on January 1st, anything that happens afterward, he no longer takes the fall for. And everyone starts thinking, we know what the fuck is happening. This motherfucker ran off, and they're about to get audited, and they're about to get closed down, and whoever gets put in the place of the CEO while this investigating is happening is going to take the fall. So Thomas Dusty Dick runs off to his new studio, which he actually started in 2019 but hasn't done anything with, and this studio is called Silent Lamb Studio. This is Tomas Dutkiewicz's new studio. The CEO, who absolutely tanked and destroyed and scammed Madmind and its customers, has made Silent Lamb Studio, and he has ran off to it, and he is taking Madmind projects with him. Specifically, he is taking Sirens. Sirens changed on fucking December 31st. Their page changed from saying they were being published by Madmind to saying they are being published by Silent Lamb Studio, and the Madmind Discord was removed from Sirens forum. Tomas Dickless is running Digital Homicide 3.0. Silent Lamb Studio. Do not buy from them. It is the same motherfucker who scammed you for the last 3 years from Madmind. And then something interesting happened. And that's where we're going to talk about what I talked about earlier. Will you even be around 5 years from now? Here was Madmind's announcement. They didn't make this publicly, by the way. This was only made through their Discord. Dear players, friends, and fellow creators. After I.O. years of a shared journey, the moment has come, one we never planned, but one we want to close with our heads held high. Nah, you don't get to do that. You get to hang your heads in shame. Madmind Studio is stepping away from game development, and will continue solely as a publisher. I wonder how long that's gonna last. The entire development team is closing this chapter, but Madmind will continue to operate in a slightly different form, looking for opportunities to collaborate on existing games with external developers and studios. Excuse me. I doubt that. I bet by the end of the year, you motherfuckers will be gone. First and foremost, we want to thank you. We want to thank the little people who got us here. Thank you for the I.O. years of trust, emotions, support, and criticism - often painful, but always pushing us forward, pushing them so forward that their animations, models, and rigging got worse with each game after Succubus. Without you, there would have been no reason to do what we did. We would have no reason to scam people, if there were not people to scam. Were there not suckers to be licked, we would not have the opportunity to lick. How wonderful. We look back with pride at what we managed to create together. You really shouldn't. An entire universe. Ooh. About that. A distinct artistic language. Ooh. No, not really. You just did Doom. And games that were never afraid to go against the current. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah. We fought censorship. Simplification. You did not fight simplification. You simplified everything to the point that it was just mindless, drivel, and slop. Go play the demo for Tormentor. It is the most oversimplified shit ever. Go check your email. He's got an email in his pocket, and I think it's starting to melt. And the pressure to make safe decisions. Sometimes we paid a high price for that dash, but we never regretted staying true to ourselves. Yeah, liars. Liars. Every year, the list of games that your employees worked on grew. The Witcher, Cyberpunk, Grand Theft Auto. You name every big game you said your people worked on at some point in their careers. That's a lie. That didn't happen. You lied. All you do is lie. The only thing that stayed true to you was that you were all liars. You were the coffee boys who thought you could scam people, and you scammed a lot of people. So, fun times. We created games that were imperfect, controversial, and intense. Games that had something to say. For us, Madmind was never just a company, it was a grift! It was a group of people who believed that games could be art, an experience, and a manifesto all at once. Yeah, we like money, and we don't care about delivering decent products to get it. This chapter is coming to an end, but this is not the end of us. At la fiesta de la whatever the fuck the Spanish word for vultures is, your seat is already set. You're coming. This is your end. Although we are no longer operating within Madmind Studio, our team still exists in call centers in Dubai and India. We are still creating quietly with renewed energy and with new ideas you will hear about in the near future. That's a lie, by the way, because they are stopping all development on Tormentor, meaning that the janky, broken, unfinished mess that it currently is what it will stay forever. Idiots. Thank you for standing with us through these I.O. years. See you, on the other side. The creators of World of Agony. Minus Tomas, of course. Right? So that bit of fart huffing aside, That was essentially the most official announcement. But then something interesting happened. And that is that something showed up on their webpage. Under careers, this showed up. And I don't know if you can tell yet, but we're going to talk about that. You click over here on careers, and you get this. We are currently not conducting open recruitment, but don't lose heart. New opportunities will appear soon. I doubt that. But anyway, let's go back. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing it? Looks a little weird, doesn't it? Jarvis, jork it a little and enhance. Had mind, stud, yo. Oh, I'm gonna 416. That's an AI image on their website. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is the death of Madmind. Not with a cry of anguish, terror, and rage. Not with their heads held high, like they say they are. But bowing, scraping, crawling away on their bellies like snakes. Whispering that they were so much better than we gave them credit for. Whispering that they can be proud of what they have done. And bitter. Bitter, whimpering, and sad. I feel bad for anyone who actually gave a shit and lost their jobs over this. I feel bad for the people who are going to have to take the fall for what Tomaz and his leadership did over the past decade. But I don't feel bad for them closing down. I feel bad for the people who are going to get hit with shit that they didn't actually do. But I don't feel bad about everyone who's about to lose their job. I want everyone in the independent and AA sphere to go through every game they have ever made and pull up every name of everyone who has ever worked for them and put them on a list. Do not hire them. Blacklists are bad, but sometimes they're necessary. Anyone who worked with or for Madmind will be an absolute detriment to your projects in the future. For the Lust for Whatever guys, the guys who made the game where Mabel's from. Hi, Mabel. I would stop whatever you're doing and immediately find a new publisher. Put every single effort you have to figuring out how you're going to get published now. I don't think Madmind's going to be around long enough to publish you. They've already stopped making games faster than I thought they would. And that's it! It's coming to an end, ladies and gentlemen. Madmind's doors are shuttering. They're no longer making games, and soon they won't be publishing them anymore. And quite frankly, it couldn't have happened to a nicer group of people. It really couldn't. For the life of me, I cannot remember who made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die. For these sins, we were merely fresh, man. Goodbye, Madmind.